Boy, oh boy, Ryan Day adds a quarterback via the transfer portal, and it appears he's trying to spice up the QB competition in 2023.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Wednesday, January 18th in the year 2023, and I'd like to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen or first watch of every single day. During this episode, we will discuss who and get to learn more about the QB that Ryan Day added to the roster via the transfer portal, and we'll discuss how this impacts the quarterback room and the QB competition. But before we get to any of that, Ryan Day is tasked once again with handling a quarterback competition. There was a QB competition in 2019, a QB competition in 2021, and in 2023, another quarterback competition. Ryan Day is going to have to facilitate and decide who's going to be QB1 in Columbus. And this year is interesting. Similar to 2019, you got quarterbacks that don't have much experience. Now, Justin Fields had some experience down in Georgia, but in a backup role to Jake Fromm, did not have the starting experience or the big game experience that you would want from a guy who is transferring to your school. So now this year, you have Kyle McCord, Devin Brown, two guys that have played. McCord had started a game, but none of them have a lot of experience of being a quarterback. And in comes Ryan Day's decision to go to the portal to bring a player in. The player, Tristan Gebbia, I believe I got the name correctly. Took me a while to get it because on the broadcast, it kept saying Gebbia. But I was like, wait, is it sure that's it? That's exactly how you spell the name. Gebbia. Tristan Gebbia. He is a transfer quarterback from Oregon State. Started his career at Nebraska. Was there for 1 year. Redshirted there in 2017. Yes, 2017. This will be his 7th year playing college football via the redshirt rules, the grad transfer rules, and the free year of eligibility in 2020 due to the COVID. This is his 7th year of playing the college football. Tristan Gebbia comes into a situation where there is a QB competition, and many people believe, myself included, the starting quarterback was already on Ohio State's roster. He was on the roster in 2022. So why do you bring in somebody at this time just to bring them in? No, you don't bring them in just to bring them in, just to fill a roster spot. I do believe Ryan Day understands something about bringing somebody in that has starting experience. Tristan Gebbia started 5 games in between the 2019 and 2020 seasons for Oregon State. He played in 4 games in 2022, 10 of 11 for 79 passing yards. Not bad, not great at all. Before backup, pretty accurate. Those things there, that's not bad at all. But you get a guy who's been around a while, been in a couple programs, was at one program for only a year, so you can only take that for what it's worth. But ultimately, has seen a lot of football, a lot of practices, a lot of weight room battles, different forms and variations of the strength and conditioning program. 1 year at Nebraska, numerous years at Oregon State. He's been around a while. He's seen a lot of football from the 1 year he was there at Nebraska, the redshirt year. Also, too, the numerous games he's played while at Oregon State. You want someone like that in your quarterback room. Because outside of that, you got McCord, you got Devin Brown, you're bringing in Lincoln Kienholz, who's going to be joining the roster in the summer as he finishes out his high school athletic days, playing basketball right now, also playing baseball, I do believe, in the spring. You want to bring somebody in who has some experience, who can provide a veteran presence in the locker room. Someone that younger guys can say, hey, how are you when you started your first game? What kind of stuff went through your mind? Who were you nervous? What kind of things were you dealing with? And he can deal with those things with the youngsters. Because Kyle McCord, Devin Brown, these are guys that one guy's been there for 2 years, while another one's been there for one. These are guys that are very green, extremely green. And they need somebody, not just a quarterback in Ryan Day, former quarterback at Ryan Day, or a quarterback's coach at Corey Dennis, or former Ohio State Buckeye player at Brian Hartline. You want someone that's your age, that's done it in a different, started a few games, say, hey, man, what's it like? Like, what are those bright lights like? What's it like when you have a guy, defensive end, who's a freak of nature, coming at you full speed? What's that like? What's it like on 3rd and 8? What's it like when you have these successes? How do you handle the highlights and the low moments? How do you handle those things? And I do believe Ryan Day understands this could very well be more of a mentorship or mentor role for Tristan Gebbia. That could be it. It could simply be this young man. He comes in. He is more of a mentor role for these young quarterbacks, these young players. But him being there, his presence, he could be a leader to them and ultimately be a great asset and resource for the two quarterbacks, Kyle McCord and Devin Brown, in 2023. I still believe McCord and Brown's going to be QB1 for the Buckeyes going into the 2023 season. I think things have to be really, really crazy for them not to be. Lincoln Keon-Holtz is extremely talented, brings a different skill set than the other two quarterbacks do, but I still don't think you can come in June, get used to the strength and conditioning program, go through, quickly learn the playbook, quickly build the muscle, and win the QB competition in fall camp. That's a quick, short amount of time for him to do that, a 2-month period for him to do that. I don't think that's going to happen, which is why I still think McCord and Brown are going to be the QB1 for the Buckeyes. But now they have a guy who's going to ultimately spice up this QB competition. We're going to talk about that later on in the show and just talk about the QB competition itself, but it's a great addition, man. Great addition. The guy knows his role. He's coming in to play and fulfill that role. And I love what Ryan do. I like what Ryan do. Like what Ryan Day is doing. Getting my words twisted and mixed up right now with this addition of Tristan Gebbia to the Ohio State Buckeye roster. Mention a little bit about Gebbia, but who is he? What does he bring to the table to Ohio State? We'll discuss that next right here on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From pro football to future college football bets to basketball, we've got it all at BetOnline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can even find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball is available on YouTube and wherever you get your fine podcasts. So I mentioned a little bit about Tristan Gebbia and his path to Ohio State, and this being his 7th year in playing college football, and his journey playing at a couple schools, starting 5 games, and a few of the things that he brings to the table. There's some other details that we're going to learn about this young man that Ryan Day might say, oh, we have a couple tricks up our sleeve with Mr. Gebbia on our roster. But let's start back to the beginning. We can go all about the stats, the numbers, the ins and outs, all of that. But I do think this interesting path going to Nebraska back in 2017. 1 year there was a redshirt year. And I do believe that was the year before Scott Frost got there in Nebraska. I believe Scott Frost last year at UCF was in 2017, and then he spent the next few years at Nebraska, got fired last year. So he's there. Coach is gone. In comes a new guy. I don't know all the ins and outs of my guess, but they went a different route. In comes Adrian Martinez. QB went to Nebraska. Gebbia is gone. Gebbia goes from Nebraska to Oregon State. Good program. Good football program, not the elite of the elite, but a good football program. And that's where he sunk his teeth in. That's where he stayed there. That's where he got the reps and got the run, practice, games, things of that nature. From his redshirt sophomore year all the way to what next year will be his grad transfer year, you want guys like that to be on your roster that have played a lot of football. While at Oregon State, might I add, he played 4 games last year. Mentioned this a while ago. 10 of 11 passing for 79 passing yards for his career. He has completed 128 of his 200 attempts, has 1,250 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Not bad. I mean, he's a backup, playing in a backup role, a few starts there. But those aren't okay numbers. But when you think about the grand scheme of things, and one reason why I don't think he's going to be a starting quarterback at Ohio State, bro, you played numerous years. He didn't play. I don't believe he played in 2018. I know he didn't play in 2017. Those numbers, those are from 2019 until 2022. He did not play in 2021. So in 3 years, he's compiled those numbers. The most run he got was in 2020 during that COVID season where he only played 4 games. He's only played 4 games. That's in any season. That's the most amount of games he has ever played while playing the college football. Now, to his defense, 2020 was weird, not just for the Big Ten Conference, but also for the Pac-12. And so those numbers might be a little different if he played more football games. And they would be bigger, so we get a bigger sample size of him playing a lot of football there in 2020. Never was a clear-cut starter, never was a go-to guy for Oregon State there, which is why I think his experience there, being a starter, being a backup, being in those roles, is great for Ohio State. But might I add, he has some things in his tool bag that I think Ryan Day might be able to utilize. In a game against Cal in 2020, and I was trying to watch the clip, watch the highlights from this game. I was sitting there trying to figure out what year is this. Now, granted, I saw the video. I forget if the year was in the title of the video, but I'm sitting here thinking, what kind of year is this? What year is this? It is clear. Ain't nobody in the stands, baby. Ain't nobody out there. And if you know in college football or football in general, if there's a year at this sport, if there's any time you're trying to wonder what year is this, what time period is this in history, if there ain't nobody there in the stands, it's probably 2020. Or if it's 30% or 50%, if there's very few people in the stands, it doesn't look normal, it's probably 2020. And that's how I could quickly decipher and depict what year this game was played in. 2020, he caught an 8-yard touchdown pass. Was actually snapped to him, revert. He snapped to him. He tossed the ball to the running back. Running back tossed the ball to his teammate for reverse. In comes they're in the red zone. In comes Tristan Gebbia, who didn't really sneak in, just ran his route, looped into the side of the end zone, caught the ball, touchdown. So he is a quarterback that in trick plays, trick moments. Unless you go back and watch all these plays about Tristan Gebbia, I don't know if your average D coordinator is going to realize, hey, man, about 4 years ago, you got to watch this film with this cat. He does have this in his bag. Now, the D coordinator is going to rely on his quality control coaches and the video guys and the video staff to say, give me all the clips on this player, all of them. Because I gotta know, man, if he's in the game, what might happen. So next year, in a crucial moment, or maybe in a fun moment, if Ryan Day's like, hey, let's spice things up, a little trickeration with Tristan Gebbia, we might be able to see that there as well. He also has a 40-yard punt in his resume, and that's something you normally see in high school, Cathedral High School. the high school that Pete Werner went to back when he played in the state of Indiana in the high school football. Cathedral High School's quarterback sometimes will drop back in a deeper shotgun set and they just punt the ball on fourth down. And so I don't know. That's not something I think that they'll do because when you're at Ohio State, you have elite punters. So I don't know if Ryan Day will ever need to do that. But if he does, that's there in his bag as well. So Tristan Gebbia, you have a quarterback with experience. You have a quarterback that's been around different coaches, different coaching staffs, different QB coaches, different coordinators, different programs. These are all things that he brings to Ohio State. And as a guy who's a grad transfer, that could go anywhere. We talk about it a lot in the NFL, the professional ranks, guys that are ring chasing, guys that are going to a place hoping to get a championship. That very well may be the calling card or the deciding factor for Mr. Gebbia about why he decided to go to Ohio State and commit there right now. I don't know. Just a thought, just a guess. But ultimately, I think Tristan Gebbia brings a lot to the table that's off the field. And you need those things in your football program. Similar to Gunnar Hoke committing to Ohio State a few years ago, former Kentucky quarterback. Didn't nobody think Gunnar Hoke was going to start. But why do you come in? Possibly to win a championship, but also to have the most fun and the best time you can at an elite program, a place that you probably would not be able to go to if it wasn't for this opportunity, one via the COVID and the redshirt rules, the grad transfer rules, taking advantage of the rules. Ultimately, Tristan Gebbia, I am excited for what he's going to do as a Buckeye, and a lot of it's going to be off the field. But you need those kind of guys in your locker room, in your position rooms, to help the guys who are starters or that are on the field all the time be the best players they can be. I keep talking about this QB room and occasionally mention the competition for QB1 because it does spice things up just a little bit. We'll discuss how it spices up that competition in the offseason leading into the football season in 2023 next right here on Locked on Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more. And the best service in Central Ohio. Billiards Plus also can set you up with a brand new top-of-the-line grill that will last for generations. We all know how hard it is with the supply chain issues this year and getting certain things shipped on time. So when it comes to ordering that one big gift for someone you love, check out Billiards Plus and get there early this year. Pick something out and get it shipped sooner than you think. It is a gift the whole family will enjoy year-round. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Alhassan, Canada, Billiards, and more. Plus, top-of-the-line grills from PK, Napoleon, Memphis, and La Griddle. That will be the last grill you own. Seriously, these grills stand the test of time. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. Check them out at billiards-plus.com. Billiards Plus, family owned and operated for generations. Sports betting is now legal in Ohio, and Locked On has a perfect show to help new and seasoned gamblers. Download and subscribe to Locked On Bets for daily picks and analysis wherever you get your fine podcasts. So, any time there is a competition at any position, at the end of the season, we all think about how things are going to go. We speculate about it. We predict how it's going to go. I made my own statement in the middle of the season about how I think a certain position group in the depth chart should be and should go based off things that happened earlier in the year. So at the end of the season, you have wide receivers, who's coming back, who's not coming back, and you predict who's going to be the top 3 receivers at Ohio State in 2023. Tight end, Cade Stover's staying, so he's tight end 1. Oh, you lose 3 offensive linemen? Will Matt Jones move into guard? Will Donovan Jackson move out the tackle? These are conversations people are having as we speak. Another one is about Kyle McCord and Devin Brown. I am not going to shy away from it. I said it numerous times. I do believe one of those two quarterbacks is going to be QB1. But ultimately, Ryan Day understands this competition ain't won yet. You got to prove it on the field. This is only January, the middle of the first month of the new year. Ultimately, you got to prove it to me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single day. You got to be in that playbook, know it inside and out. You better be putting the proper things in your body to get the nutrients that it needs. Oh, and those workouts, you better go hard because the guy next to you is the guy you're competing with in that competition. And ultimately, he's going to be going hard as well. And so these are things you talk about in an offseason like this at Ohio State. Eichenberg saying Tui Maloa's going to be there next year. Sawyer's going to be there next year. Mike Hall, Tyleek Williams, Denzel Burke, Lathan Ransom. This was supposed to be a Lathan Ransom day, but then there was a transfer quarterback that Ohio State picked up. Ultimately, I need to say this. One, credit to Austin Ward who covers Ohio State for Rivals.com for breaking this news. He was first to report this. But also, I got to say, I lost my train of thought. It happens every now and then. Let's keep going. So as Austin Ward broke this news, I'm thinking to myself, the quarterback competition, who many people think this is going to be won by two guys, could it be a third guy in the mix? And I'm going to say yes. I don't think Ryan Day brings Tristan Gebbia in thinking he's not going to compete for the job. I do believe Ryan Day understands this job is up for grabs. And if you're McCord, if you're Brown, you know who each other are. You know the other person's strengths. You know the other person's weaknesses. All of a sudden, what do you have? A new guy. And if you've ever been a new guy, a lot of us, I think everybody listening to this, well, most people, unless you're a youngster, you've probably been a new guy, new person, man or woman, at a job. You first day, your boss is there. Hey, welcome, happy to see you. All of a sudden, what happens next? You see that one person to your right doesn't talk to you. Look to your left. They don't talk to you. And you're starting thinking like, what's going on? I remember that job myself. Had a job a few years ago before I started becoming I got the opportunity to host this podcast. I was a mortgage loan officer. I helped people refinance their mortgages. And there was a guy named Wally, and the boss said he don't talk to new people. I was like, oh, I get that, because when I sold cars, I didn't talk to new people either. What like I didn't dislike them. It was something that, hey, I don't know how long you're going to be here, so therefore, I just didn't talk to you. Probably the wrong mindset to take into that, but I just didn't talk to you. So Wally was there. Wally's a cool guy, fun guy. When you get him talking, he talks a lot, but he didn't talk a lot at all. So I was like, okay, cool, man. Let me just get my feet well. Let me keep going. And then once he started realizing Jay could be good at this thing, lo and behold, Wally started to talk. And I think it could be the same type of thing here. It's not like McCord and Brown don't like the Gebbia, which I personally don't think that would happen. But hey, I don't think it would be that they don't like him. They got to feel him out. You got to figure out what he's about. Is he here just taking up a roster spot on a scholarship? Is he here wasting time? Or is he true competition? And I think these quarterbacks, McCord and Brown, need to go into this thinking he is true competition. They may already know, like, it's theirs for the winning, but you got to approach it. Any quarterback in here, you're coming to get my job. You're coming to take the prize. The prize isn't won yet. You're coming to get the prize, and the prize is being labeled QB1 at Ohio State. You better go in that every day, working hard. And I'm glad Ryan Day brought him in. For the leadership, the mentorship, the veteran presence, locker room guy, all of that stuff, yes. But maybe spice things up a little bit. Little competition is good, especially in sports and practice. You want to do those things. And Ryan Day, head coach at Ohio State, we're going to talk more about Ryan Day and why this is possibly the biggest year for Ryan Day as an Ohio State head coach. We'll discuss more about why that is later during the offseason right here on this show. Guys, right here on a Wednesday. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can send all of your emails to jstevens317 at gmail.com. The plan is to talk about Lathan Ransom at one point, but we also have to play the hits. If more news is broke by another person that covers the football team, or just a national writer like Pete Thamel of ESPN. We'll discuss that tomorrow. But the thing is, little Lathan Ransom, little Buckeye basketball, that's what's coming up as of right now on tomorrow's show. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen today. For your second listen, check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Experts Isaac Shade and Andy Patton bring you everything you need to know on and off the court. Plus, hear from big-name experts, coaches, and players throughout the basketball landscape. Locked On College Basketball is available on YouTube and wherever you get your fine podcasts.